Cubert Academy, I don't know if Redux is actually going to be that flexible. I did some really quick math just by skimming through the numbers on VLR, but let's say in around 700 games, Redux has only played 4 games of Cypher officially. So I don't know how that's going to look for Redux overall as a Cypher role, but man, who cares? Tens is playing, and he's playing Neon.
Yeah, whatever you want, baby girl. You can have any
exactly.
Just help us win, bro. Please, bro. I need the win, bro.
And he is.
But it's working. Got to go fast. And Cubert Academy ready to step up. But as soon as the smoke comes up, did not want to get hosed down by Winthrop. So Cubert Academy not going to play as fast and loose yet. Well, Infiltrator was gonna blink, and then that happened. But hey, Cubert Academy are marching.
And now though, you still have Tens inserted into the C cubby. So as it's not really being spotted by the camera yet, Tens could actually start pulling rotates when he starts moving up and breaking this camera. But because they've already forfeited the whole storage side for Cubert Academy when they've lost Redux at the very beginning, you can't really walk back into A. So they decide to group up together and go for the last minute hit into the C site where now Moves is about to get tested.
It's a real dance between all the sites. Here's the plant, smoke in place, Moves and Flare together, no paranoia, but vibes, and he'll be on his way, and I would like this recon to be used first so you can at least set and get some attention. Shots towards the recon. It's been messy, but a big opener as it's a double kill for Moves. And Ten tends to pick things up, and not even the GOAT can do it all, so Winthrop will take the pistol.
Yeah, and Moves just caught Knights off guard. With the smoke dissipating, never anticipated that Moves is going to be just out in the open. And the surprise is actually not only 1, but 2 players on top of that, rendering it very difficult for Tens to try to win a 3 versus 1, or a 1 versus 3 rather, as he was trying to play into the clutch. That said, everything worked out quite well and gracefully when Infiltrator already got that pick. And that's what I was mentioning before with taking down Redux and then them also taking down Infiltrator down by grass. You've already lost so much map space into Garage, into B, into A site. So you have to commit towards C. And if it wasn't for Moves with that 2K, maybe the story would have been different. But Winthrop University continues on a very strong foot here on Haven.
Recon out and getting a ping. Sometimes you have Neons just running down at this point, but with an Outlaw, just checking out, getting a condition of, is Winthrop peeking out early, getting a sense of how Winthrop like to hold A. Got a camera out, up close in sewers. You're going to drone out, see who's there. And Redux is ready to fight, even while ping. Big win for Ali. Got the double tap out, but not expecting that much smoke. The big double kill for T-Dog sets up Cubert for success. Now with the smoke in place, look at the cover their tracks and think of what's next.
That was also part of the plan. Redux letting himself getting Owl Drone, getting picked off so T-Dog can pick up the Guardian and get 2 kills. So they went for a force buy after getting a plant for Cubert Academy, but it's not the good old trusty stinger buy. They tried to go for range because of this type of map where you're trying to go for picks at the long range distance, and you can't really use util to open up sites, so nice little picks to start.
Good fault line from Nismo. And Winthrop have to now battle through the smoke, depending on how Azure wants to pop out. Infiltrator with a big tube. Timing. Now it's just Moves in a 1 versus 2, and it's good effort, but not enough against Cubert.
And that's the thing that I was trying to mention before. When you don't have util to work with, think back about the tail breach meta into a stinger buy. You have cycled util that you can leverage and really oppress a site and really allow for you to get space and then close the gap with the stingers on that buy. But because you don't have that anymore into, tail being nerfed down, and you're also having T-Dog playing a Sova, you're just trying to leverage distance instead, and it works out. They were able to compose themselves on 2 great openers on trades, get a plant, reset the economy for Winthrop University, put them onto an eco, and force them to push for information. There's already a camera up for Redux that's going to force a TP away. That's space gain now for Cubert Academy to fight towards the C site against Moves again.
Thought Moves was going to have a good tap there. A lot of smokes are hindering Cubert, and it's 1, 2, 3. Infiltrator gets lucky through the smoke. And Cubert Academy, it's really like to pivot back and forth, and it's going to be hard for Winthrop to keep up with this, as Winthrop aren't going to try and push their luck on the flank, and not again. Now exploring through courtyard. Got garage control, but where this ISO is inserted, where Ali is, could catch Cubert. And wow, I guess Flare was going to peek out of garage and get the spike down. Going to cause some activity for Cubert to recover that. I'm surprised that Flare and Ali didn't want to try and go for more. Still an important cutoff point. Tens is down, traded by Redux. Spike continues its way over. Maybe gonna need some help though from Knights, especially with the paranoia, but now deciding, okay, there's way too much danger here. They're gonna go through A.
Well, it's so hard for them to get map control, and they've already lost T-Dog in the very beginning. You can't drone into garage. You're trying to group up to hit up the B site so that it's easier for you to entry, but Nismo just got caught off. The silver lining, at least, is that they have an open site for C to plant, and they also have better weapons to work with in the post plant, because nobody really picked up, and only Flare finally picked up a rifle here.
Shot bolts and recon so annoying out of Nazi, and Cubert couldn't plant because of that. And Cubert Academy do a good job of working up the map, but just these lucky shots from the shares through the smokes and Winthrop getting ahead of the rotation game. They get a thrifty out of this.
Yeah, I don't know if production or observers is able to catch that, but that was a kill with a Stinger wallbang. So I have to see what else was being used. Was there a second shock dart that kind of pushed him off position and he's able to get like one bullet off the edge of the boxes here? I think this is it right here. But if not, nonetheless, that's Nasi still getting a crucial kill, not allowing Cubert Academy to go for a plant. So now you have trades on trades in terms of lower buys, and Cubert Academy, because they have no plant, they can't really go for the strongest of buys ever, and they can only count on Knights with the strongest weapon of a Guardian. And he's watching it towards C. So a 4-player group up towards the cubby on this side here of the A entrance. And yeah, no surprise kills coming out from Infiltrator.
Like that Winthrop are testing the waters out with these smokes in place to just take as much map control as possible and see how Cubert are going to try and oppress them. But now it's a walk up through A. Keep in mind, though, Ali could be on the flank here. And it will be watched, not with the trip from Redux, but just himself. And at least he could have the assistance of T-Dog to try and turn around. But this is still a save from Cubert. So you need as much of a buddy system as possible. And this is going to recruit the entirety of Cubert to turn around for this flank. And it's just so much damage from Ali and Infiltrator. But at least that flank is snuffed out. Flare is up next. Gets the spike down. Redux is trying to dance. Good pivots, good swings. But Flare is better with a better gun. It's just Knights. He's like, I got the site clear, guys.
30 seconds
Space
left.
is made. And he's got to try and play with his team a bit more, help them out in these situations so the trades can go more their way.
Yeah, if anything, though, you have to give it for Winthrop University, making sure that the protocols are still there. Because I like how Cubert Academy tried to make a lot of noise towards the A site, but then everybody instantly turns around on a 180 just to fight back with this eco that they have to punish the players pushing through. It worked out for a couple of kills, but you're hoping here from Knight's perspective that somebody else is going to over-push and over-rotate to support Flare fighting here against Redux in the back of the A site to control the spike. But you saw here from...
Holy shit.
Yeah, you saw it from that side there, from Nasi. He just stayed put towards that spawn and never allowed himself to be exposed to Knights. So I love here that we're staying confident with Winthrop University. And again, this is a map picked by Cubert Academy because with this composition of this Neon, they've been dominating every single team in Challengers in North America, winning the last 4 and not giving any opportunities for their opponents to get more than like, what, 5 or 6 rounds. Yet Winthrop University is definitely making them run for their money so far on their attack side.
Just an unmitigated op shot. It's that first blood for Winthrop, leaving Knights to, well, he could teleport over wherever Cubert decide to go, but now that they don't have Nismo, though, that really sucks because usually you'd like to fault line that box within the site of A, and she uses the entirety of his kit to really explode onto the site. So Infiltrator has flashes and dimensional drift too. You can kind of solo hold this if needed. See what Cubert have up their sleeve.
Yeah, it's a simple just take the site. They should smoke. I mean, they should have smoked Heaven at this part. They went a little bit too late, or too early rather, before the smoke bloomed. Yes, he gets traded out, but they're still running out of players now in the post plant for Cubert. Thankfully, finally Knights gets a pick.
And Winthrop lose the op too, so Cubert equal numbers. Arrow's gonna be Heaven taken Sova through the front door. Nasi with shock bolts. Not feeling like he has enough time to flesh out these zones. And Nasi tries to do it all on his own. Now it's just up to Flare. Good paranoia. She could have combined that with his teammate. Perfectly synchronized, but now time is running out, and Cubert have all their bases covered as Flare chases down this last person. T-Dog is running for his life, buying time, and still stay stoic at the end.
And that's how you play the perfect 1v1. Play the clock to your favor, despite this being very labored for you to get the round as your Cubert Academy play against Winthrop University. This should be on paper an easy dub for Cubert. You just want to make sure that no matter what, you get the round. And T-Dog was able to isolate that for sure and guarantee that at least here for Cubert Academy, especially with that first mistake that just happened. Not making sure here that the window was fully smoked out before you started walking up. You just talked about it where you could maybe held it on the side of Infiltrator. He had the potential to drift for them to just utilize for the retake towards the end. So with him dropping, they gave a much better chance for Cubert Academy to win that round.
Hunter's Fury early from Nasi detecting something from Cubert over at A, and it gets the spike down. So Cubert already have a setback. Kind of want to see 10s activate, especially with the overdrive. And that's an offensive Hunter's Fury, and Winthrop hits backs against the wall. But there's a bite from Winthrop. They will not be evicted, not without a fight. But Fraggers from Cubert get into position, and it's just T-Dog left with a bark. And against Moobs and Alley, just kind of a sort of high-low going on.
Got Recon.
T-Dog has shock bolts, but oh yeah, Recon too.
It just came back up. That said, though, with 50 seconds left, he's probably going to have to recon to find info, but that's at the risk of giving his own position away.
Hearing some walking near the door, too, so. Of course, they have eyes on the spike. Winthrop aren't going to be forced to move. And you're giving them a chance to reposition, but T-Dog is also faking, making it look like he's maybe moved through main. And had this isolated 1v1 against Alley, but he stands tall. Winthrop lead by 2.
And then look at the X of where Nismo died. That's 2 rounds in a row where he's just trying to walk across after, like, what, cages, something to allow for them to get into some control of the long A into sewers, and he gets instantly dropped. And as you mentioned, it's a pivotal point and a pivotal piece of util that's needed on their side here for Nismo for them to really fully exit into the site like they can. Yes, to get a couple of entries here and there, but there's just so much value that the breach could bring if you could add extra flashes behind those neon walls to really flood against the defense here on the side of Winthrop University. So if anything, they're doing an excellent job on the side of the defense to just shut down initial initiator utility and not give a chance here for Cubert Academy to really set up on a much stronger hold on the site hits.
Cubert Academy have gone through so many changes. I mean, not even just 10s, like all the role swaps between Redux and Knights, and even Scuba going from Smokes to Sentinel this stage. But we also have to talk about the flexibility of Winthrop, because someone like Flare has been on Tejo 85% of the time in both stages. And now that that's out of the meta, this is the first time you're going to see him on Omen for a very long time. So, and there's a lot of work and a lot of prep that goes into playoffs. And it is double limb, there's wiggle room, but you're also going up against, if you're Winthrop, you're going up against one of the best teams in Challengers, despite Winthrop, I think, technically having the better seed. They're pretty much the same. It's still an intimidating matchup to go into.
And the good thing about Flare as well is before playing Nateo, is playing a lot of Brimstone too. So this is just regular roles for him to go back into the controller roles.
Oh, wow. We wanted to see 10s get fast, and gets the life snuffed out of him by Flare sitting in B. Weren't expecting Winthrop to just be within B so fast. Usually you can hold the sides of it. Cubert, oh, they're testing out something new, being aggressive, being able to run in. That's not going to work out. Camera's not going to see much, too, over in sewers. So Cubert are constantly having these rounds in 4v5s. And it is just pistols, so it's to be expected. Now just walking down through courtyard. Now it's just a training range, and just get the one bot down. 3 more to go for Cubert. Now they still want to try their hand at B.
Yeah, thankfully you're quick to react on the side of Cubert to get a pick. You bring up a weapon, and Nismo has a chance now to put up some numbers on the board.
Okay. Constantly traded, though, out of Cubert, so it is going to cost a lot of weapons out of Winthrop.
Last player standing.
Oh, Nismo's trying to break into C, and a cage trip
30
potentially
seconds left.
is going to get in his way. So Winthrop are building themselves quite a lead early and being able to keep the op 2, build the economy going on, and with the ults they have, Winthrop are generating a huge threat.
Yeah, and with the call here from Winthrop University, they already have, I think it was 3 players towards the B site at the very beginning, anticipating, okay, well, our opponents are on a low buy. The easiest site to hit very quickly is the B site to try to play the plant, and then we can play the off site. And then suddenly you have player TPing on the top of the B site and then just catches TenZ off guard as he's trying to run through with the overdrive. That's just a nice little read coming out here from Winthrop University. And look at that. They're now double engaging here to try to get a shock dart into the cubby. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit anybody, but I like the idea. So you had the undercut coming out here from the B site with the flash, or the smoke rather, but at least Knights is able to answer back into the garage.
I know
Flick
exactly
was
where you are.
gonna hit from Infiltrator too, and that's such a big win condition you remove from them. Neural theft because of that drop will give an advantage to Redux and friends of Cubert, figuring out which the weaker site is, and Flare throws a paranoia, but Nasi wasn't by his side, so they're gonna take a second to regroup.
Planted.
I like maybe just trying to hit a different angle too through garage. It is smoke though, and because Cubert have all 5 alive, they have so many bells and whistles for this post plant, even having a drone later on.
Yeah, I'd probably save for us Winthrop here. Even if you could buy within the next round, try to make it expensive as the next thing. But after that HP remaining from Nasi, these last 2 guys have to save. I like the pivot though coming back from Cubert Academy. The play behind Winthrop University with what they're trying to do with the shock dart combination with the undercut towards A was to get some double damage, some instant kills. But if they don't spot any pressure coming out from the A side, an Infiltrator is going to be ready and anticipates the pivot back or control here towards grass. You're playing a Yoru. You got to give him a chance here to try to go for the pick and TP out, but he gets instantly punished. And as he gets taken down, you just fast go towards the C side because of that combo play. You know that there's triple util on that A side, so it's weak towards C. So I love the call from T-Dot to go very quick towards the C site, and they just quickly overtook the solo anchor player on the C site.
You know Cubert are going to have a strong offense coming out when they have Rolling Thunder, and it's just going to take over any site they want. And it's perfect for somewhere like A, especially when Winthrop are playing very, very close and may even peak early. So it's going to be Nasi that finds that out the hard way. And Ali's so aggressive through sewers, even just dodging the shock bolts. And this time being aware that there's not a gap in that smoke this time, but Cubert like to hang back and wait for that approach. It's a teleport in the offensive omen. It's a pivot towards garage. Cubert are working the map, and Winthrop trying to keep up. Entry into C. You got the neon wall splitting up and not letting moves get too much vision. The paranoia through. Cubert just are getting surrounded, and they need to pick an angle to dominate in. And with Infiltrator, it's going to be hard. Neural theft is going to help Winthrop suss out where Cubert are going.
It's a solo A-hold from Ali. He already used a double tap, so 1v1 here. Oh, he's screwed.
Okay, at least the contingency to try and block some of this damage. He's gonna need help, and backup has arrived. 911, the ambulance for Winthrop. It's made its mark, and it's just Knights. He gets good trades, and it's Winthrop that keep the gap at 3.
Yeah, it was a 911 call the ambulance, but not for me, actually, after all. Because the Rolling Thunder had, you mentioned it was supposed to get a lot of value out for Nismo, but as soon as he gets it across and does get the hit onto Ali, that slow wall, the right click, the buff that came through from the right click wall of the ISO just didn't allow here for Cubert Academy to really move as quickly, and even a better chance for the rest of Winthrop to rotate back over on that side. And that's thanks to the double ult coming out here from Infiltrator and also from the Cypher from Moobs. Already understanding the rotate over, the over-rotate from Cubert towards the A site.
Ooh. Finding Ali early. Cubert ramping up the aggression. Reading Winthrop and adapting well. Now it's the paranoia that splits Cubert in half as Winthrop want to prevent this from getting too settled. Flare and Nasi do such a fantastic job as a duo to win the site for the defense.
They did a good job for Cubert Academy to kick things off on sewers and get that first initial pick into the consistent walk-up from alley into sewers. But after that, trying to get back into the A site, there's just too many players to deal with. And Winthrop University have always been looking much better into the crossfire setups and the anchorings that they're currently doing here against Cubert. It's looking a little bit tougher right now on the attack side with Cubert, but I feel that that's kind of like expected when you have somebody like you've lost Scuba at this point, who's been, you know, a pivotal point into a controller role, into the sentinel role as well for Cubert Academy, and now you're giving it to your main duelist guy to try to play it.
Okay, double swing is nice from Cubert on the lowered by. You do what you can, what you got. Winthrop are just constantly getting first bloods though, and they're winning all these rounds from not even needing to defuse, but to just prevent Cubert from getting established, which speaks a lot to the confidence you have to bring in a match that seems so intimidating, not only for the stakes, but who you're going up against. How many eyes could be watching? Now it's a Hunter's Fury right through the heart of Knights. And it gets Cubert scrambling, and even a ping through main. Saucy's trying to prevent the plant.
Spike planted.
Now he gets on the high ground. That's left unsmoked. Cubert don't even have a controller. They have their own Hunter's Fury if they want to play through main. And now he's on the flank. Gets a last glimpse at tens before the punish is there. 3 and everyone just collapsed like a heart attack. Winthrop now getting a round from a defuse.
And it's so hard for Cubert Academy to play the post plant. At that point, they did have the Hunter's Fury available for T-Dog, but because they've already lost Redux at the very beginning, as you're executing towards the A site, you have zero information of who's behind. So you have no choice but to stay within and hoping that, you know, they're going to be more antsy for Winthrop University on that retake from the spawn side. But as I mentioned before, they haven't been antsy on the side of the defense. They've been so clean from top to bottom so far, from A to Z, on how they're protocoling their defense for this collegiate team. They're definitely making it difficult here for Cubert Academy. And I'm not just saying because Redux is playing the sentinel role that it's already going to look bad. It's just overall, you're now trying to add more synergy with tens coming into the roster and making things work off the fly. It's very difficult to do.
Oh, Ali's on his way with a contract, but it's 1 to kill, and he's kidnapping, I think that was Redux. So while that goes on, Cubert are just going to take a chill pill. And Ali wins that kill contract, ink to paper, and Cubert have a sewers push going, smokes, but because Cubert take long to get into the site, it allows for Winthrop to keep up with rotations, to be stacked, and even develop a flank every now and then, just like Ali did last round. Ooh, T-Dog. I like when you dodge in the camera too, like IRL, but shooting through the smoke. There's the vulnerable out of the ISO. Cubert just spamming through the smoke and moves with 30 HP. Gets 2 for the road, making it a lot easier for Infiltrator in this 1v1 against Knights. Who honestly could have even teleported at that window. Had enough time to plant. Infiltrator will be in heaven. Isn't going to spot any targets. And based on the play, he's in hell. It sends him right there. What a flick from Infiltrator.
Infiltrator with the 180, landing on the ground and still has enough time to even scope in and get that shot onto Knights. I don't think he was ready for that drop down since the very beginning because of the decoy that went through first. And then suddenly you just drop down, get the pick, and you turn this into a 9-3 half for Winthrop University. I had a big question mark though on why do we push so many players through this smoke? I mean, looking back at it, it seems as though they've already lost Nismo or something in that process, or not enough util to flash through the smoke, but did not time that out correctly on the side of Cubert, and he got shut down by moves.
9-3 half is super solid for Winthrop though. Really impressive what they're able to do, and now these double duelists gets to thrive on offense. It gets skill checked by T-Dog. Just gonna throw that initial shock bolt, not even the recon. This T-Dog will have to take a seat. I'm looking forward to seeing what Infiltrator can do. He can create an opener, but he's got a 2-man split of Cubert within B. The smoke is not gonna isolate them, so A tough duel. Like now, actually, that Yor has an isolation, and that's an opener against Nismo, and runs headfirst into Knights and puts them to bed, and opens up the B site for Winthrop to carry through, and there's only so much space he can make. Winthrop will have to make do, and on the flank, T-Dog with 10 HP, open for a backstab, isn't going to have the right timing, but in the front line is Redux and Garage. Ready to swing, but Flair's ready. If Redux wants to follow through, and that's good backup. This is a good Winthrop pistol, at least in terms of health. But Winthrop still don't know where T-Dog is, I believe, so this backstab could still be huge. He's catching Flair, takes his time. Tens has the most health too. Nasi's gonna turn around to deal with Garage, so Tens has to finish up this round. No, Nasi! That's nasty!
Oh, an insane 1v2 by Nasi to clutch that one out. Oh my god. I just love the patience coming out from Tens at the very beginning, or at least on a site hit coming out from Winthrop University. Because you already had Redux playing inside the Garage, you're thinking, okay, well, he's going to just play soft side on C. They're going to play a retake on C side. The Neon's nowhere to be found, probably still helping out towards the A side. And Tens gets the easy kill right there onto Moobs. But then after that, the patience coming out from Nasi. He's inserted himself into the C side and just waited a couple of extra seconds for him to just activate right after and get the backstab on 2 players. That was so nice. And now you're forcing Cubert Academy into a strange buy. A Bucky, a Stinger, no armor. Just trying to keep the econ correct into some way for Cubert Academy to probably get some sort of hero play out of this type of buy and stay within the game. But if not, Winthrop University is about to dominate Cubert on this first map.
An outlaw buy for Infiltrator, trying to get mileage out of it to see if Cubert were going to get Desper, maybe a Stinger buy and just run it down or whatever they were going to have. The outlaw's great for that distance, and Moves is great for the first blood, but staying within the smoke. Redux with the shorty. Puts one down. There's a few more to go. Through Garage, Knights is denied an angle that could have caught Winthrop by the Achilles. And this round feels pretty secure for Winthrop.
Planted.
Give me 4 Sheriff one-shots, Tens. Just stay on him and see what we get. The best thing they have is Recon from T-Dog, and then maybe get a pick through the Recon Dart. That might be the saving grace. But if not, with the university sitting comfortably at 11.
Fasty. Get as much information with what you can and really just aim check Winthrop, see if they can catch you. But this is, I mean, Winthrop hitting double digits, up to 11. This is Cubert just warming up. You know, it is their first time playing with Tens. I don't even know how much time they've scrimmed together. But I don't know if I was expecting like a lashing like this, I guess.
Yeah. Well, at this point, maybe not at an 11-3 scoreline, but I would definitely not want to discredit like the progress that Winthrop University has made throughout this Challenger split. Actually, even in 2025. If you look back into 2024 or 2023 of Winthrop University from collegiate until now, they were not really talked about. In the collegiate scene, again, I have to talk about probably Blinn Esports or Northwood University, which Ali was a part of in the first place in that Northwood run. But ever since he's joined now into the Winthrop University camp, Winthrop University has been looking quite clean throughout this year. So again, another one of those probably the dark horse going into this split. I don't think they would be in conversation as like the clear top favorites to be winning Ascension, but definitely probably that gatekeeping team that wouldn't allow players and teams to ascend into the playoffs, at least into the inner regions of LATAM and South America and North America.
Yeah, Winthrop have only grown in terms of results since last year. Last year, they went from getting relegated in Stage 2, top 6 in Stage 3. Yeah, they got relegated in Stage 2, top 6 in Stage 3. They finished 3rd place last stage, and now once again, they're making playoffs. And this is a 4-man core that has been together since their entry into Challengers last year. And Flair joining Winthrop has only been a blessing. And to kick off playoffs with an 11-3 against still a really remarkable team says so much to the amount of work. And Gomper's talked about just the grind of doing collegiate, multiple tournaments there, to playing in Challengers. Like, this is such good representation for what collegiate can do to support talent.
Yeah, Moops is going to go after us again if they win this first map. That said, though, chances are on the side of Cubert Academy. The first pick did come through from Knights all the way towards Long C. And this bonus round that you currently have from Winthrop University is not the best for them to have a clean execute into the A site because Infiltrator has an outlaw to work with. So you're just trying to scan through, you're trying to force players out of position and hopefully Infiltrator getting a pick off the outlaw. But that site smoke being thrown out was perfect here so far for Cubert.
Infiltrator has to do this was the outlaw, I guess.
Shorty.
Oh, Shorty, okay. That's where it is, and it's down on the ground now. Who cares what he has? Cubert just hold the line, and T-Dog is something else. Even combined with tens, they hold the wall and they hold Winthrop back from the spike too.
Gotta kill your lucky stars, especially there for T-Dog to find that timing just before the smoke was about to dissipate. Just walks in and catches Infiltrator switching out to his flash when Infiltrator is holding the shorty the whole time inside that smoke. So that gives a chance here, a little bit of room to breathe for Cubert Academy. First clean round that they have, but that's against a bonus round from Winthrop University that, you know, helps in the end. And look at that. That's how you get the timing of that one. Trying to maximize, at least trying to maximize off orbs, but it gets denied after the swing came through. But at least they have good econ to work with. We're even in terms of rifles on both sides, virtually the same weapons on both ends.
Wow, what a gamble from Cubert. 4 stacked on the right side. And it's working. You'll get moves and a fault line. It's trying to assist the rest of Cubert to collapse on this Winthrop entry. While the rest, okay, the spike is left behind. So Winthrop are like, hey, we got the site. Where's the rest of you? Well, Tens will find the rest of you. And he gets the one. And the Winthrop will march with what they have left. Infiltrator and Alley against Nismo and T-Dog. Full util kill contract 1v1 and in real life 1v1 in the kill contract. Nismo shuts down Alley. This is what could help save Cubert Academy and give themselves more cushion against the 11 rounds of Winthrop. Unless Infiltrator can speak a win into existence.
Flash gave his position away, but T-Dog doesn't want to drone himself to give his own position away. They just want to play the time. If anything, Hunter's Fury is going to be perfect in the last second when Infiltrator is going to try to plant. So you're just trying to play to your best of capabilities here with what you have in your pocket. Free kill.
It is done.
Free kill, patience paying off, and it's now 2 in a row. I don't know. Can Cubert really just pull off a perfect defense? It'll have to be perfect economy, perfect cycling of ults. Any gap, any opening you give to Winthrop, they will take.
Yeah. If anything, any opening they gave to Cubert Academy, they took it so far in that previous round. So you can't be too complacent for the side of Winthrop University when you've already had a 9-3 half to your favor with a strong defense. But then with that type of fake towards the A site, you hit towards C, you get the opener, but still leave the spike towards spawn. That's just them starting to feel that they could finish it, that they could finish Cubert Academy on this first map. But they just have to make sure here that they don't slip through the overconfidence that they're currently building.
Defensive Hunter's Fury just right through the throat and just, okay, that open teleports out. That was kind of nice from Flare and Cubert. Are just hammering down the doors and Nazi with the hero Vandal. Wants to hold down both doorways. That is ambitious. And moves will support Sheriff at a distance, but now smoked off. Winthrop are just gonna hope to spam through and use the shock bolts on the post plant. Wait for the smoke to dissipate. Hopefully it does so soon. Lucky spam through the smoke and a roundabout. Red Tens stopped, but the rest of Cubert pick it up and the spike ticks down. It's defused. Cubert continue their streak.
I was about to see the vision there on the side of Winthrop University. If that third player came down after Tens got dropped by running outside of grass, you had the Hunter's Fury available in the post plant. But thankfully, Cubert Academy just made sure that they rushed through as fast as they could to trade instantly to have the last player just stick onto that spike and not get any value off that Hunter's Fury. So very nice one being done here by Cubert Academy on that retake. That's 3 rounds in a row right now. And you're starting to see a very similar trend of how things kind of like just pertain itself since that first half. A lot of rounds strung here on the defensive side from Winthrop University in the very beginning. And now Oh, the TP!
What's going on?
How is he still alive?
He's going in blind. 10's still there. And the flank is generated from Cubert through A. And the Hunter's Fury tries to pierce the hearts of the defenders. And Winthrop have an open sight, but Garage being pushed from Cubert. You got flashes from Nismo. Ready for the count. Paranoia 2. Still, Nazi is still able to get one, but Nismo's just better. The 3K to save Cubert once again.
Nismo on Haven is back, baby. And when we were questioning how the hell was 10 still alive, you just saw that when Infiltrator TP'd across, that fault line actually hit him instantly. So the fact that Nismo stayed back towards that ceiling and just stayed glued towards that minimap to just time the fault line to keep 10's alive, at least for that one kill, and then the flash assist for the trip kill on that retake, was a big round for the veteran coming out from Nismo. Again, for me, the next player to look out for to move up into the VCTs, man. This guy's been grinding for the longest time since Valorant came out, and he needs his chance.
Cubert Academy would like to keep some players, though. They've promoted it enough, so like, Winthrop, you know, it's fine. Everyone graduate. And the whole goal is to graduate, you know, college or tier 1. But Knights is, well, putting everyone into detention. That was gross. How are Cubert just, now is this 5 in a row? Is this happening?
Yeah. And even to go back to that topic for Cubert Academy, hell yeah, they want to promote everybody one by one because they unfortunately cannot ascend as a team. So if every single player has an opportunity to prove themselves within this roster, within Cubert Academy, and then you have a system that allows for these players to move up to tier 1 because you have great support coming out from Sentinels that wants to pay a roster to continue to funnel good talent, hell yeah. Props to Sentinels and Rotmore for that one, by the way.
I'll handle this.
Infiltrator, dimensional drift through Garage, while the rest of Cubert wait for what information he could deliver them. Omen, Cypher within the site, Paranoia, contingency forward, a lot of space taken. The Judge, where the sun don't shine, and Cubert left to pick up the pieces, and 2 tripwires are going to stop 10's on this flank, while Infiltrator heads back to dispatch that darn duelist. And it's not just him, it's T-Dog too, and 10's has it off, which isn't the most easy thing to try and push 2 people. What a pinch from Ali and an Infiltrator. Now everything feels pretty set in stone for Winthrop. Nismo's on the site, but there's 4 ahead, and his position revealed, almost an aceful Infiltrator. You'd love to see that guy get online.
Oh, dude, with so many good rounds coming out from Cubert Academy and the comeback that was starting to flourish here on the side of Cubert Academy, it had to be thwarted by a Yoru with a Judge out from the dimensional drift to get 2 picks like that. I mean, what assisted? I mean, I guess there was a Paranoia. There was a big Paranoia that came through, and he's able to come out of it and get 2 kills with a Judge. A nice little combination, but that's just so annoying to deal with, and that's going to be a morale breaker for sure when it's just a Judge that kills 2 players and puts them at map point for Winthrop.
Yeah, you're on your last life if you're Cubert Academy. A university versus an academy, but it's Winthrop taking them to school. Air is just set up on having Ali lurk around. The rest of Winthrop don't have the luxury of having a breach or something easy to get into the site. I guess Infiltrator will just shoot better. And that's going to weaken that and get Cubert to scramble to fill those gaps.
Playing in another player deficit now for Cubert Academy, and playing Sauceline on C, full retake, just counting on the trips for information so that you can double up into buddy system, and the buddy system gets fully denied in front of B site. That should be GG right here.
It's good teamwork out of Cubert despite everything, even with the double swing. But Winthrop, just the patience really pays off. How they're able to work the map, but also execute a little bit faster at the end. You'd love to see Winthrop have just a shining moment early on in playoffs, taking Cubert's map pick of Haven. And now we go to Lotus up next. And it was cool to see Cubert Academy form that sort of comeback and how they're able to play under kind of high stakes and so much pressure of having to play flawless. But